100,000 people to become unemployed. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's look at this article written by Stephen Koukoulas from Yahoo Finance. So job figures improve, but 100,000 to become unemployed. Now I suspect this is another push for the continuation of the JobKeeper program, because, the unemployment rate, according at least, and I'll bring it up here, to the ABS has dropped down significantly, 5.8%. Now, if you don't quite trust that, we can look at another estimate for unemployment, which I know a lot of you have seen if you've watched this channel, but remember, for some people this is the first time they're exposed to this. This is Roy Morgan's estimate of unemployment, and they're saying it's gone up to 13.2% from 11.7%. The rule of thumb is take the ABS figures and double it to get the Roy Morgan figures. They use different methodologies for surveying people. The ABS, it's quite a convoluted process, but during the survey period, because they just ask people, they have a survey of thousands of people they ask during a particular period. If you were working or looking for work, you have to answer all these questions. But fundamentally, if you did 1 hour of work during that survey period, you were employed. So, don't know about you, but is 1 hour enough? So ahead of the end of the JobKeeper program next week, the latest labour force data confirmed a further improvement in employment, a lower unemployment rate, but a rise in the number of people underemployed. It was good news overall that showed the economy improving from the deep 2020 recession. Well, can one really say if the economy is improving, or we're just hoovering future tax revenue and dispersing it now? That's the magic of this current system that we have. And the problem is, well, who receives the benefit from future taxes is kind of unfair, in a way. In February, the number of people employed rose 89,000, which means that employment is now just a fraction below the pre-COVID-19 peak recorded in February 2020. The news was also favorable for the unemployment rate, which fell to 5.8%, down from the peak of 7.5% in 2020. But this is around half a percentage point above the pre-COVID-19 rate. This recovery in the labour market to date is linked to the lift in economic output in the second half of 2020 and the early months of 2021. As the economy has opened, lockdowns ended and restrictions eased, a lot of business has resumed and people have ramped up their spending. Now, our savings rate has also increased, confidence is up there. It'll be interesting to see what happens when JobKeeper gets pulled away. We see they're continuing to support the airline industry. Other industries are getting support. Will it keep going? Will it be expanded? I mean, let us know in the comments. Are you working in a business? Are you supported by JobKeeper? What is your plan if the business that you work for goes under? What's the strategy that you've put in place? If they're no longer sustainable, JobKeeper disappears, you get pulled in for a meeting, and you're sorry mate, you've got to go. We kept you on as long as we can. Business ain't recovering. It's going to happen, everyone. It's part of life. You need to prepare for that. What are you doing to deal with it? I mean, I'm hoping more and more people will realize that being dependent on others is in some ways dangerous. We're not living in the utopian time of the past where, you work in one job for your whole life. You've got to change, you've got to be flexible, you've got to keep your skills up to date. And that is a frustration and a challenge, particularly the older you get, because I don't know about you, but the idea of me going back and retraining seems like a nightmare. So, the extra spending on healthcare and infrastructure has been part of the overall economic pickup that has required more people return to work. This is how economic cycles always work. The labour market responds to the dynamics of the economy, with job creation inextricably linked to the growth rate of the economy. And what about concerns ahead? Looking ahead, there are a few obvious potholes that may slow down the recovery in the economy and the labour market. The most obvious is the ending of the JobKeeper payment at the end of March. Payments to employers will end, who will be under no obligation to retain staff after the wage subsidy ends. Some of them have probably kept people on longer than they should have. Some businesses are probably still around when maybe they're no longer viable. How long do we have to keep supporting those businesses? How long is it fair? Is it fair to keep those people with the illusion of hope? I mean, it's not their fault that their business may go under. That happens all the time, everyone. Insolvencies are about half of where they should be. Personal and external interventions as well. We've just had our first recession in 28 years, guys. I know it seems harsh, but maybe that's just because we've become so accustomed to being protected from reality in all aspects of life. Indeed, for those in the sectors of the economy still under downside pressure, universities, the arts, hospitality, and international tourism, by way of example, it is likely that employment will fall and the unemployment rate will rise when the labour force data for April and the few months after that are released. It is likely around 100,000 people will go from receiving JobKeeper to unemployment in the next few months. So there are going to be people there that are going to lose their job, everyone. That's going to happen. It's something you need to prepare for if you're in that situation. And I hope, and I'm certain, there are a lot of people that are on JobKeeper that know that, well, being stood down again or this job may not continue, and they should be, and they are, using this as an opportunity to prepare. Maybe looking at improving their skills, maybe improving their networking, maybe training for a new job or position. In addition to the obvious human cost, it will mean those people will not have the income to spend in the economy. Retail sales are likely to be weaker as a result. And this is Stephen's shtick, just handing out money so people spend it, really. You want people need to work and have value in what they're doing. If you just have people as a bunch of pointless consumers, who's going to end up producing the goods that the consumers need? Magic money printing doesn't work in the long run. It's a bit of a fantasy. So, this broad economic downside will be exacerbated by the $100 a fortnight reduction in the job seeker payment to those unemployed, even allowing for the increase that the government has provided for in reaction to what was a pitifully low level of unemployment benefits prior to the outbreak. Okay, I mean, he's being political there, of course he is. Here's the thing, though. But with that decreased spending, there are going to be some businesses that were at the brink that have to go under. Then there's some creative destruction in the economy. Then there's opportunities that arise out of that. Don't these people understand it? Has it been too long before these people have gone through tough times in their life? Sometimes the most failing at sometimes the most challenging parts of your life are the most beneficial. They're where you learn the lessons. They're where you change your whole life, where you can discover new things, where you can create opportunity. If you shelter a child too much, you're going to cause more damage than exposing them to reality. In some ways, we could argue this is the same for our economy. In the June quarter, household income growth risks falling because of these cuts. Well, that's called a recession, mate. For the moment, the downside risks are likely to be contained, but that assessment assumes that other parts of the economy and global events remain broadly positive in terms of their influence on the Australian economy. Australia is still vulnerable to further escalation of the trade dispute with China. The global economy remains vulnerable to weakness as COVID continues to spread throughout much of the world. International borders are set to remain closed for a considerable period of time, which will act as a constraint on the local tourism and education sectors. There's also a growing risk that the regulators will impose tighter lending rules in the wake of the recent lift in house prices, a move that could derail an important sector of wealth creation for the household sector. See, this is the problem. If you're so used to just, it's all a bit fantasy, just getting people spending, rather than building things of real value. Look at the mess we've gotten into, thanks to all of these interventionalists. We've got a country with declining economic complexity year after year after year. You've got calls to bring in skilled migrants and abandon our own citizens. Come on. Yeah, the lucky country. Sure. So, all of which suggests the good news on the economy and the labour market may be about to pause. It is to be hoped that this is a temporary pause rather than the start of a concerning trend. The data from the labour market to date has been encouraging, so we'll have to see. So there's Koukoulas' take on the end of JobKeeper. More calls, just more government intervention. This is the problem. Do you fundamentally want an interventionist government that just steps into the economy, or do you want one that pulls back and allows the market the freedom that it needs to make those corrections? Because I can tell you now, there's some people that are going to be spared a comeuppance from their terrible financial decisions, and they won't learn a lesson. What do you reckon? What would you prefer? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that one in the comments down below. If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.